Thanks for joining the channel here over at SubScribeStar, now over at Odyssey. So, Alyssa Mercante fired from Kotaku, maybe, and possibly moving to Sweet Baby. Are people finally done with woke? It feels like that's been coming for a while. As this JT guy points out, he predicted it with the Trump thing, but I think it was on its way. Trump is just kind of icing on the cake for a lot of these people. But the downside of that is Trump is going to make the left wing even more insane for the next 4 years. And honestly, like Trump got elected and I saw the reaction on the left, and it kind of took the wind out of my sails to think like, oh, we got another 4 years of dealing with this. It's kind of exhausting in a way. I look at it now, honestly, like, Biden, Kamala, and Trump, if you could have picked different candidates than all of them, like a different R and a different D, I think it would have taken a lot of this acrimony out of people. But we got what we got. I mean, you live in interesting times. So Kotaku at least has decided that the Kotaku's parent company has decided that it's time to make some money. It'd be interesting to the parent company is G/O or something. It'd be interesting to see who the parent company is or who the holders are. And they fired a bunch of mentally ill, virtue signaling SJWs. And one of the Zimzers who got fired is on Twitter with like 800 followers, just a nobody account. People are like, I have 800 followers on Twitter. It's like, congratulations, that's a nobody account. Try being more interesting, because they were. I think I have 800 followers as well, because they were costing the company money. Now I don't want to defame my girl Alyssa Mercante, so she said that she left the company on her own. Maybe and that might be accurate. Because if she's, I think, the top editor, then she probably saw what was coming. And I mean, she probably knew she was on the way out anyway, because all she does is get on social media and argue with people so she can be the center of attention. But that doesn't draw people to Kotaku. And she goes, well, it's my personal account. And that's not really how social media works these days. If you're known for being a Kotaku, you're really advertising Kotaku. If you wanted a personal, I'm going to say be anonymous. You really can't have a personal account in your name when you're tied to Kotaku so tightly, and you're not bringing people to Kotaku. She became this story, and that's what she wanted. She wanted to be the center of attention, which is kind of funny because she's some SJW chick, and she has this, a lot of them have this vibe of like they're too hip and cool and slick to be chicks wanting attention. But when you kind of scratch the surface, and then it looks like, oh, we're just chicks who want attention. And I think last time I mentioned the tattoos, and someone yelled at me. I think Vagan yelled at me for that. I just say things things come into my head. There's no filter. Totally without thinking. So I won't bash the tattoos, especially because he just sent me a vampire comic, which looks pretty cool. So they fired a bunch of mentally ill, virtue signaling SJWs because they don't have the deep pockets that Hollywood has, or the game companies themselves have. They don't have that kind of money, and they're a clickbait company. They have to have people coming in and clicking on some of these articles so they can see advertisement. Or they do. They and the Mary Sue incorporate advertising within the articles. Like they'll do like Amazon coffee mugs or something, which I think I would be great at doing that kind of stuff, because I could sell a hell of a lot of coffee. I love coffee. So I don't know if she got fired or quit. She's kind of famous for wanting to fight. I mean, she probably got fired. Wanting to fight. Oh no, I'll sue you for defamation. Well, I mean, yes, technically you can, but I mean, it's a long way from a judgment to the bank. So she's famous for wanting to fight YouTubers who disagreed with her over pop culture, like to literally get in the ring. Now, she's talking oil wrestling. I'm absolutely support your decision to hop in a bikini and get these other YouTuber girls in bikinis with you. And honestly, you could probably raise a fair amount of money if she wanted to fight Melanie Mack, who's she's on all the platforms, which is cool because she's on Odyssey and Rollo. She's very interesting, but she's a twig. I mean, she's like 110 pounds. She's literally probably she's probably as heavy as one of my legs. And then Vera Dark also has pop culture channels, and she volunteered, but Alyssa declined that invitation. She decided discretion is a better part of valor. And I volunteer the prettiest girl on YouTube, Cecilia Jones, who's got Cash Grab 2 coming out. And I got to say, the first one was absolutely amazing. I remember when Zach was doing his comic, what, 6, 7 years ago, whenever the hell that the Jawbreakers and Diversity in Comics came out, and discovering that he could actually tell a story really well, as he did with Ironsides, with IB Canals, which I thought was fan freaking tastic. He's got Cash Grab too. It's on Fund My Comic because it's a kind of another video in the works that he's was kicked off Indiegogo, which is absolutely bizarre. But it's weird to see that you see Cecil joking around kind of alcoholically online, and then you find out that they can actually write good stories, which is really cool. So it's on Fund My Comic, and I won't beg for a comic copy this time like I did last time because I know he's not I don't think he's listening to every video, but he just happened to listen to that one video where I said, oh, somebody send me Cash Grab, because I openly shill for comics. I don't feel bad about that. But he listened to it, and he sent me this huge care package with all the comics and the variants and the posters and stickers and whatever. And I felt pretty dirty because I was like, oh, if he was listening to that, essentially I put him in a bad position of, you know what I mean? I just felt like kind of a douchebag. So get yourself a copy, but don't send me one because I feel kind of guilty over that whole thing. But definitely get one for a friend because I looked through it and I can't even show you some of the images because they're very spicy. Too spicy for YouTube. Too spicy for Indiegogo. But now I understand why Indiegogo did not allow did not allow this comic because he shows like 10 pages of it. It's fan freaking tastic, so absolutely check it out. Anyway, Kotaku and the rest of the gaming pop culture online world has been completely taken over by these woke activists, and this petite is one of them as well. I think I think this was the them that was on with who's that girl? Anita Sarkeesian on Feminist Frequency back when they were on YouTube, and they turned off the comments because they were, what happened to that open marketplace of ideas? Come on, let's get out there and let's exchange and talk about things. Like, no, we don't want a dialogue. We want a monologue. The thing is, people are losing interest in woke. And even if Trump didn't get elected, I think Hollywood and games are going to continue to decline as well as the mainstream media. Now, the problem is the left wing now they think they're the resistance. So I think they're going to double down. And I think it's going to be the perfect storm because you've got the woke who are going to continue to move in this woke direction. But the normal people, the Chads and Stacey, oh, dear God, this... Chads and Stacey's are kind of moving away from the woke into the straw man Hugo Boss territory, and left wingers pretty much spend all their money on weed. So, not everyone can go down this path, Really, we're really in Weimar. It's like it's all actually happening all over again. Anyway, so we're gonna see. I gotta get that's fucking rough, dudes. You're gonna see a massive collapse across industries, which will be enjoyable to watch. Anyway, Mercante is going from Kotaku to Sweet Baby to spread her poison over there. I suspect that they're also on the way out. And she was maybe she can go back to OnlyFans. She said she was a cam girl, which I think was kind of a 90s thing. And I got to admit, no BS, I've never seen a cam girl. See, I thought that was old internet. I can imagine what it's all about. It's her in a bathtub, probably making sure her bean is well polished. And then she got offended when somebody said that she was, lady of negotiable affection. It's like, what else? What other definition would you have for somebody who's, putting the giant mamba cucumbers where they shouldn't, turning them into pickles, essentially. So people go to that got really dark really quick. People go to Kotaku to read about games, which is find out if there's problems with them, and find out if they're worth the money and the guides on this stuff. But the problem is all these websites have been taken over by these childish blue-haired weirdos who think that they're the opposite sex. And for them, a good game is obese POC trans lesbians who give lectures on pronouns, which literally was in Dragon's Age, where a character referred to a woman using the feminine form. So then she corrects herself and does push-ups. because they're trying to push like fake pronouns or something. Your gender is derived from your sex. There's only two sexes. There's only the masculine and the feminine. I guess the plural if it's unknown. You can't change your pronouns. That's not for the user. That's the reality. You don't get to change other people's realities. I know I went off on this, but I think it's a really big deal. This is all a fad. It's not going to happen. I think 20 years ago, Mean Girls and Scary Movie would be making fun of this type of stuff, and like you're not going to get movies like those ever again. I can't if they try to do a comedy like that, a lampoon, a parody stuff where they're making fun of pop culture. It would be painfully cringe because they just couldn't do it. You can't have a scene where there's a ladies gym coach. They use some bodybuilder girl, and they put a giant set of hairy nuts on her, like falling out of her panties or something in one of those scary movies. It's like, yeah, I don't think you're gonna see that again. That'd probably be a war crime now under the new 1984 Hollywood. The thing to do with woke, if you really want to kill it, is just to do that. Is to put scenes like that in movies. Just make a scary movie type of movie and go all out and lampoon all this Weimar nonsense. And obviously they're not going to do that because even the ones who are not drinking the Kool-Aid, they're terrified of the ones who are. And the thing is, it's not just making the movie; it's the finance of it, and then you're dealing with the financial industry, which is every bit as woke as Fink and Schwab and all the rest, and then the distribution. So like, there's a lot to it. But I mean, a company could do it if they wanted to, like a company that has the production and the distribution all tied up, like Amazon or Netflix. But it's weird that they're not doing it. And the first corporation company that did that would take all the market share, would just blow the doors off of everyone. It's a case of like, yeah, that is money on the table, billions of dollars on the table, and they're not picking it up and running with it. That should really activate the almonds. And one would think there's been a lot of stuff to parody in the past few years. Subterranean type of stuff. You could put that in the next scary movie, but I'm sure they'd make it the Catholic Church. That seems to be the only group they're safe to go off of. You can make a video talking about Christ and Christians and the Catholic Church all you want. I mean, it'd be fun to do for an experiment on a smaller channel, and just see what happens. And well, you know what would happen if you went outside the allowable spectrum of opinion. So anyway, as I said the other day, I don't think Hollywood or the games industry is going to dial down woke. The digital magazines might have to, because Geo Publishing don't have the same deep pockets. And since Trump's first election in 2016, all of these Huffington Post and BuzzFeeds and all these other things, online magazines, have been on a steady decline. And the election night 2 nights ago showed that pretty well, because from MSN, from Fox to CNN, MSNBC, the numbers were down across the board because people were watching on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey. Dan Bongino on Rumble had something like 300,000 people in a live stream, and Sargon's Lotus Eaters had 40,000 on Rumble and even like 4,000 on Odyssey, and even the Phantom Menace pop culture channels had tens of thousands of viewers. And that's where the audience is. There's only so many viewers. Mainstream media is massively on the decline. MSN is dying, and that's a good thing. It needed to die for a long time because it's the ultimate yellow journalism. I always say Lugenpress just as a dog whistle to trigger them, which very much does. It's like there's any kind of bait, even the battery percentage, right? Any kind of bait you can throw out there, they will jump on. It's like if they believe the hand symbol is something somehow nefarious, it's like they created it, which is, it's like the left wing created their own enemies. It's like they've been marching around for how many years? Anyway, they're very concerned that people don't trust the media or government anymore, which is kind of odd that the left wing would be saying, oh, no, you need to support corporate media, until you realize, you're in total control of corporate media. And it's like, you've been in control for a long time, I get that, but now you're mask off. And somebody in the comments pointed out a couple weeks ago, that they have to accelerate because people are catching on, and there's alternative media, so they're losing. What's that Star Wars quote? It's slipping through their fingers day by day. They're losing power and influence, and radically. Like if I would love to see what the total numbers on Rumble were. It was millions of people. And, a few years ago, it wasn't millions of people. And those millions of people are coming from the mainstream media, which is friggin' fantastically powerful. Why on earth would we trust the parasitical media and government when they were, and it's to not trust the media and government now, or those big farming companies. I don't mean agriculture, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a hooked on phonics type of thing. Where that's a far right dog whistle to say you don't trust the media. Look at them, it's like 20 years ago, you would have been on board with me. Anytime pre-Obama, the left wing, 2008, the left wing would have been on board with you. Go, oh yeah, of course I don't trust the media. And then Obama gets in, and the media starts fluffing him up, and suddenly the left starts changing their tune. It's like, whoa, you guys really don't have principles whatsoever. You stand on absolutely nothing. So the media and government lie to protect their bias. They've been caught lying. I mean, I've been paying attention to it really for the past 10 years, and it's like they've been caught out over and over again. You can't trust the media or government when they repeatedly and openly lie to you, or at least expose their bias, because now in the days of cell phone cameras, it's somebody standing in the background with an iPhone and they're filming it in 1080 and they show, oh, the media recreated this scene. Oh, well, okay, that's okay, believe it or not, as long as they tell you that this is a recreated scene. Oh no, they didn't do that. Oh, hey, Hillary Clinton passed out in the heat from heat exhaustion, which is, fair enough. It happens. You're wearing too many clothes, not enough hydration or something. So did the media show that? No, somebody with a cell phone camera. Oh, well, that's the media bias right there. Or the media coverage for Kamala, it was 99% positive, which is pretty friggin' hard to do when if you've been paying attention to Kamala, because she's, I mean, you listen to her, she's a sociopath. And how's the coverage been for Trump? It's like, pretty negative. It's like, yeah, the people don't give a shit about celebrities or the media anymore, because they're so deep in a gated community echo chamber. They have no idea what it's like. Hey, celebrities, what do your groceries cost per week? It's like, oh, I don't know we have a maid who buys the groceries and prepares the meals. Yeah, that's what we thought. You have no clue what that's all about. I mean, they try to install Nina Jankowicz in the Ministry of Truth to help control the media narrative. That's how lack of trust there is in the media. That's why they put her in there, or they tried to put her in there. And you think, like, surely this isn't America, the Bill of Rights and literally the First Amendment. No, Nina Jankowicz is actually a thing, and now she has a group funded by Soros. It's called like the Sunlight Project, and it's essentially another Ministry of Truth. We're going to be fact checkers. It's like, oh, so who's working there? Who are your fundraisers? Oh, we're going to hide that. It's like, well, you can try to hide it, but I mean, people will investigate it and find out. It's weird. It's weird when you have to you have a fact-checking group, so you'd think everything would be above board. No, she's the face of it, because you already know Jankowicz, but everyone else involved in it, including the people funding it, are a little bit harder to find unless you really dig into it. So the media is in deep shit when they think people get so offended, like, oh, Soros is another dog whistle, and then you show the holding company of the subsidiary of the Cayman Islands Incorporated. You go, oh yeah, but this is his company. Okay, well, you just happen to be right 9 times out of 10, but still, like, you have no argument, do you? They need a government agency to make you trust the lying media and their war against Oceania. I'm sorry, I mean East Asia. Anyway, so a big chunk of Alyssa Mercante is her wanting to be in the center of attention on social media. Every other post is a selfie, and it's sort of weird because it's all the same pose. And really, like, if you change your hairstyle or makeup or something changed, like a new costume dress or something, I could kind of understand it, but it's all kind of the same. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be petty. She looks fantastic. She's in great shape. She's like a bodybuilder. She eats right. Not a petty bone in my body about that. But she's like one of those chicks who goes places and takes pictures of herself and not the place. It's like, here's my butt and here's a bridge in the background. It's like, okay, just show the butt up. Like, you don't have to use the bridges. I mean, that's just kind of what females do. So her claim to fame is her racism against European people. And she does that to virtue signal on Twitter, but it kind of comes across as the cringe SJW version of the pick me girl. And then she gets in fights with YouTubers like this guy JT, who's on YouTube and he's got his website. And she emailed his wife. She was in, I guess, some PMS fit of rage, which is just insane to contact somebody's spouse. But SJWs have a habit of going to other people's spouses or trying to get them fired, or they did that with Myers. And the people who were after Myers were legitimately crazy. Talking about his family, it's like, and that the weird thing about that was in comics was that nobody in the mainstream made a statement like, "Oh yeah, that should be off limits." Like, you're not going to work with us if you're talking about somebody's wife and children. That's bizarre, and nobody did. That was like how are mainstream comics doing today? Anyway, Christina Applegate is losing her mind right now on Twitter because some guy in her comments said that women aren't good leaders because they're ruled by their emotions because of their, their snatchel region, which is obviously true. That's women are not men. I know that's probably a hate crime to say that, but we saw how bitchy Kamala came across and the passive aggressive. She's doing some interview and I don't know, she's talking to you. She goes, I'm talking. It's like, that comes across as insufferable, and the bizarre lack of self-awareness that you don't see. I would show, if I was working for her, I'd show her that video, and the people say that people who are working for her were just in it for a paycheck because she's a sociopath, and like trying to tell her something. It's just collect your paycheck and keep your mouth shut. It's like, win or lose, it doesn't matter. You're still getting paid. So perhaps Kotaku is going to try to get back to normal pre-Trump derangement syndrome, and the only way to do it is to start firing and replacing these insane woke people and get some more balanced people in there. They're not going to get somebody like me writing for Kotaku, but you don't have to either. Just get somebody who's not these insane Alyssa Mercante who gets on social media and makes herself the center of attention. Like, she wants to be a celebrity, but your goal is to drive traffic to Kotaku and then have great articles that talk about games and tricks and tips and what games are worth buying and honest reviews, because these games cost, a fair chunk of change. And they didn't do that. She was just, everything was about her and fighting with all these people on YouTube, which helps monetize Vera Dark and Melanie Mac and Smash JT, even probably and like YouTubers were trying to get involved to fight with her because it just brings people to your channel, the Quartering and JDA and all these kind of people. And like Melissa Mercante is such a nut job that she was just pouring oxygen into these channels and monetizing them, but I don't think she was monetizing herself unless she has like an OnlyFans in the background. It's like, people just want to go to Kotaku and read about games and movies and pop culture. Everyone needs a little break, especially now from these politics. It's like, yeah, we're not really getting a break because we got, I don't mean this in a bad way, but we have 4 years of Trump. And this is going to come across bad, but it's like, it would have been a good break to not have 4 years of Trump and not have 4 years of Kamala either, or Biden, to have just a break, different people to just dial down the energy. It's like, no, we got 4 more years of, like, the left wing is going to go insane all over again for 4 more years. That's going to be kind of hard to, I mean, for channels like this and all that Phantom Menace, Comicsgate, it's going to be really good content because there's going to be, like somebody said, Trump is the accelerationist campaign candidate because the left wing will accelerate under Trump in a way that the right wing was too lazy to do so under Biden. And I thought about that, and I think they wanted to get Trump elected, but I also think they're right, whether or not they meant it or not. But they're correct. The left wing, Antifa, BLM, didn't have the energy under Biden because it made the administration look bad, and the people who are really pulling the strings on Antifa, the names I already mentioned before, can keep them somewhat in control just simply by not funding it, because all those signs, they're not paid for themselves, and nobody wonders like where the rental fees come from. So the all that stuff is going to accelerate under Trump as soon as he takes office. All the states and the governors who are insane SJWs, like, they're going to burn their states down to own Trump. But the thing is, now he can't get reelected for a third term, so it's kind of like you're not really owning anyone by protesting against a guy who can't run for office again. I guess it's just protesting against J.D. Vance. But anyway, it's like it is going to make for good channels, but I think like a lot of these channels probably need a break for a couple weeks to just, I don't know, maybe take a break off from YouTube and let things die down, or get back in when he takes office, because then the left wing is like, it's going to ramp up for another 4 years, and it's just, don't they run out of energy? And I don't think they do. I mean, they've lost their mind. They've just gone beyond the point where, and see, the thing is with the whole BLT stuff, is that is dying down, no pun intended. And if you're on the left, and like there's a lot of these these BLT kids who are doing, making permanent decisions. Like you don't want to do that. Just take a break. Don't make a permanent decision for some politician. That's crazy. And like I'm on the right, and I'm telling you to just like don't. You shouldn't take a politician. Or I'm not going to talk to my family again. And even people on the left and the right are jumping into those comments when people say that stupid shit and going, wait a minute, you're going to alienate your family and friends because of a politician? That's crazy. It's like you're seeing this come from the left wing and a little bit from the right, but more from the left. And it's like, but even now, people on the left, we've had 8 years, and they're saying, yeah, that's your family, your blood is thicker than water, and your friends, your family, you want them forever. You don't want to alienate them because of some stupid political thing. It's I don't know. It is all getting pretty tiresome if I'm being honest. Like another 4 years of Trump derangement syndrome. It'd be better to just start creating different spaces for people, and an alternative Hollywood would be kind of nice, like an alt streaming platform that they already have alt streaming platforms and live streams are doing pretty well. But if somebody like funded movies, that would be a trip. And then you really would see a bifurcation. And the left can have mainstream Hollywood, but they're not watching it anyway. And like I said yesterday, like Hollywood is going to bounce back and be even more insufferable than they were before. But I don't think the left is going to go pay to watch these movies because they're just not fun. And the right has already checked out of these movies. So, and the thing is, like I said, Fox and CNN and MSNBC, their views were down on election night because people are watching Alex Jones and Steven Crowder and not the modern yellow journalism. Like it's just not worth watching anymore because people want interactive. Like they want a live stream, they want to chat. Live streams are where it's at right now, and they want to be able to talk to other people. And when you turn on the TV, you just can't do that. Like TV, you look at TV now, and it's like, oh, this is from something out of the 50s. It's TV is over. And the people are tired of being lectured to by a media that is very clearly owned and by people who have interests adverse to ours. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on next episode.